The fascinating thing about this final season is that we're asking a very big question about power, and I think that this season has gone far and beyond who's sitting on the throne. It's bigger than that. The discussions, what we're bringing to the table is bigger than the throne.
Hi everyone, it's Charlie. TV Guide just did a preview of Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 1, so we have to break it down. The producers, Dan and Dave, said some really interesting things about the finale too that I'll go through, but the actors give a lot of really good information, confirm a couple big plot points, and we learned about a special bonus episode that they're going to air after the finale that I'll explain. I'll be doing Game of Thrones videos all season long, so if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything. There's a new round of the book giveaway too. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. I just broke this down top 10 style. I don't really consider any of this stuff spoilery because this is all official information that HBO released through TV Guide. So starting with number 10, George R. Martin says that the ending of the show is based on broad plot points that he gave Dan and Dave years ago, so the really big parts of the TV show's ending will be the same as the ending of the books in Dream of Spring. But obviously there's a whole bunch of characters that are alive in the books that are dead on the TV show. There are a whole bunch of extra characters that the TV show never did, so the way they get there and what those final scenes look like will be a little bit different, even though largely the same mechanics will be going on. And Dan and Dave also, like I said, gave a couple quotes about the story of the last couple of episodes, so I'll talk about that in a second too. But number 9, the special bonus episode. You could consider it episode 7, but technically it's a 2-hour documentary called The Last Watch. If you've ever watched any of HBO's documentary films about anything, any subject, it'll be just like that, but about Game of Thrones. It'll air on HBO May 26th, 1 week after the finale, so if it were just the next episode after the finale. Emilia Clarke talks about what happens to Daenerys when she learns Jon Snow is her older brother Rhaegar Targaryen's son. She says when they discover the truth, she ends up in an incredibly fragile place. Jon is her only safety left. Then Kit Harington popped up and said, "An incest isn't exactly straight-laced Jon's style. He's not the kind of person who can knowingly jump into bed with a relative." There was this preview image of Season 8, Episode 2. She still looks like she's relatively happy, so this seems like it was taken before she finds out. There's a shot in the trailer where you see her in one of her rooms in Winterfell just looking really sad and really bummed out. Pretty safe bet that this is after she finds out, but like Emilia Clarke says, Jon is Daenerys' last safety net, so she probably still wants to be with him, he still wants to be with her. He's just having problems with the Targaryen wedding sister to brother of it all. Because if you remember in the books, Daenerys is actually thinking about her marriages to all these different people and her relationship with her brother Viserys. She says that before she married Khal Drogo, she actually expected that she would wind up marrying her brother Viserys. So even though the TV show ages the actors up a little bit, in the books, Daenerys is about 13 years old when she marries Khal Drogo. At age 13, she was already totally okay marrying her older brother. So even though there's only a couple episodes, it's not like they're going to drag this out for forever. If anyone's going to win anyone over in this weird relationship of theirs, it's probably going to be Daenerys trying to make Jon understand how it's okay. It's even part of their family's customs. But then on the other side of their relationship is Tyrion, who's kind of like a broodmother, the first couple of episodes at least, around the two of them. He says that he's worried that the fallout from their relationship is basically going to kill the Northern Alliance before the White Walkers attack. Peter Dinklage's quote about Tyrion just says, he understands the potential danger for everyone if their relationship goes south. So there's a little bit of that going on in the background. There's also the interview that Peter Dinklage did last year when he was talking about Tyrion being smitten with Daenerys, as if he had romantic interest in her, and a little bit of that jealousy was also clouding his judgment. So I don't know how thick they're going to lay that on, because given Tyrion's character and his shift the last couple of seasons, that feels like them including drama just for the sake of drama. Like at no point during season 6 or even at the early parts of season 7 did I get a feeling that Tyrion had any romantic ideas about Daenerys. He just seemed like he was happy to serve her and at times trying to manage her. Like the conversations that he had with Varys where they said, we need to find a way to make Daenerys listen to our advice. That was the big thing that they were worried about. They confirm all the big characters that are going to be there in the courtyard at Winterfell during the Season 8 Episode 1 introduction scene where Jon Snow is introducing Daenerys to Sansa. So also present in this moment, but just off of camera, is Arya Stark, Bran Stark is in the courtyard, Varys, Tyrion, and Ser Jorah is there. They don't mention anything about Gendry, Jaime Lannister, or Bronn, so they probably show up somewhere else during the episode. Jaime, it actually seems in the trailer, might even be down at the Twins, because the Twins are like the last really big defensible position between Winterfell and the Southern Kingdoms. The White Walkers can't cross big bodies of water, so the Twins would be a really important location for them. Next one's actually kind of unexpected. They say that Bran has gained the ability during Season 8 to glimpse the future on a limited basis. So Isaac Hempstead, right a little while ago, confirmed that Bran was getting better at using his abilities and he was better able to interact with people, so he wasn't going to be as much of a turnip. The scene where he's talking to Samwell, imagine like a much bigger, more articulate version of that. The only way that they describe it in the article, though, is that he can see the past, present, and glimpses of the future. So that is a really, really big power. So a while ago, when the actor who plays the Night King, named Vladimir Furtick, said that the Night King has a target, a very specific target that we'll find out about during Season 8, my first thought that it would be Bran, because he's the most powerful person that would have all the information that they need to stop the Night King. If Bran is that much of a threat to him, he would want to neutralize that. And also, glimpsing the future is another easy way to close the series down and give you a jump forward to show you what happens to all the characters that survive. So we've been talking about Daenerys potentially getting pregnant with Jon Snow's child. They wouldn't have to jump forward Lord of the Rings style. The show could just use Bran's glimpses of the future to show you what that baby looks like, because the only other way to do that would be to jump 9 months into the future at the very end of the show, which is kind of weird. So just think about all the other things that they could use that ability for. Short term, they could use it to try and see the battle, to try and defeat the Night King, try and defeat Cersei down in King's Landing. But I think the flash forwards would be more important for implying what's going to be happening in the future of these characters' lives way down the road. Let me know in the comments, though, what other big things do you think that they're going to pay off in the future using Bran's visions? Next one, Sophie Turner talks a little bit more about her relationship with Jon Snow and Daenerys initially. She talks about Sansa feeling threatened. Sophie Turner's quote is, she worked so hard to control the North and it feels like Jon should be loyal. It's frustrating to have Daenerys, who Sansa feels like is manipulating Jon, come in and take her control. So obviously, big power play. Of course, there's going to be a bit of a gunslinger standoff when they meet each other. They also imply that the reunion that Arya has with Jon won't be quite what you expect. Like, don't expect them to run into each other's arms, because as a lot of you have probably figured out, and what Maisie Williams says about it is that she's changed so much since she was that little girl way back during Season 1, Episode 2, the last time they embraced. So a lot of her emotional journey this season is in trying to reconcile the woman that she's become and the person that she wanted to be when she was a little girl. 3 Maisie Williams also specifically mentioned Cersei when talking about her list. So the list is still very much a thing during Season 8. Just remember that, because I think it'll be much more important towards the end of the season than it is at the beginning of the season. But of course, Lena Headey talked about what's going on with Cersei at the beginning of Season 8, Episode 1. She said that Cersei is scared, but she stays in her safety lane, which is survival in a brave front. So if you remember Cersei in the book, she slowly starts to lose her mind, starting, I think, around Feast for Crows. They've also changed a lot of other core elements about her plotline, so we're kind of in uncharted territory plot-wise with Cersei. But Lena Headey did another interview where she talked about Cersei being in a prison of sorts of her own making. Like, she builds this box for herself that she has trouble getting out of. I think she's mostly referring to her relationship with Euron, and his role is a very simple, straight-up bad guy in that situation. They want Cersei to be a very complex villain, so on a smaller level, Euron and the Iron Bank are going to be 2 things that Cersei will have to deal with at the beginning of the season. Biggest thing though, Dan and Dave talk about the story of the last couple of episodes. They say there have been crimes committed on all sides, and whether the characters are able to reconcile in some way, or if the friction, the feuds continue, that's one of the major issues we're going to see unfold. They also refer to Daenerys' ideas about breaking the wheel. They actually refer to Jon as a very tried and true, steady leader, old school, and Daenerys as the sort of new idea that she's going to completely dismantle the power structure of Westeros. Break the wheel and potential foreshadowing of literally breaking the Iron Throne, like getting rid of the thing that everyone's so focused on. Like Emilia Clarke said in the interview at the beginning of the video, it's so much bigger than the actual throne itself. The way they talk about it actually almost sounds exactly like the events that followed Aegon's conquest. What happened in the books is that after Aegon's conquest of the 6 kingdoms, because he didn't conquer Dorne, he had to spend the rest of his life going all over the place because there were continued minor skirmishes in all the different realms. So even though he quote-unquote conquered the kingdom, it still took the better part of another 100 years before things settled down. So even if Jon Snow and Daenerys win the Iron Throne, it's still going to be a really big battle for them going forward, because not everybody's going to be really happy with Daenerys' ideas. We only got a couple weeks before Game of Thrones comes back. There'll be a big media blitz, so there'll be more footage dropping, so leave your requests in the comments below. Congratulations, Iron Hand. You're the giveaway winner from my last big Game of Thrones video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Click here to learn about all the big callbacks in the Season 8 trailer for scenes from the Game of Thrones pilot episode, and click here for my Game of Thrones Season 8 Golden Company video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.